Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the program. It's a live edition, folks. It's PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got a good show lined up today. We got our regular, the dean of sports in the state of Florida on Sports Talk Radio, the good old Buddy Martin. And then we'll have JC Deacon, head men's golf coach, your SEC Coach of the Year. The boys are heading out to Scottsdale, Arizona, probably today or tomorrow, getting ready for the NCAA National Championship. So we wish them a lot of luck, and we'll speak a little bit with JC about the season that they've had. You missed it last night. Boy, after I was on the Buddy Martin show, it was a blowout in LA, and next thing I know, the damn Nuggets are moving on. So congratulations for their first time ever going to.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, my Nuggets. Yes, sir.
That's your team, buddy. There's no doubt. They're clearly the best team in basketball, so We'll see. They should win it all. Good morning, buddy. You're on the Titan & More hotline. How's that feel?
Good morning. It feels good, and it feels good for the Nuggets because I suffered with them for 7 years in Denver, and I know a lot of those people back then. Don't know anybody today, but I mean, as you know, Shane, I'm not a big NBA fan. Okay, but I couldn't resist this. This was something special. And I hate it's not like I got jumping on the bandwagon, but I'm jumping on this bandwagon because what a fun team to watch play the game of basketball. I have a quote from LeBron from last night. I mean, you have to understand the context of this Nicolo, this guy who's dominated basketball the last 6 weeks. I said it a couple of weeks ago that he is, to me, in the NBA, what Shaq was when he first came to college basketball. And I saw him, and I thought, man, I have seen the future. And this team is, I mean, look, I remember when I covered the team in 85, it was a million years ago, they won one game in the conference finals against L.A. I was in L.A. It was a big night. They beat the Lakers in one game. That's when they had Magic and Kareem and all that bunch. So to go out, you have no idea. I guess you could probably talk about it. It's kind of like 1990 for the Gators when you played. The feeling you get about finally being the best team, and the Nugget fans who have suffered, as I told you on my show last night. There was a period of time where this franchise was going to be folded into the Utah Jazz. They were going to play as one team. But I remember those great days. Really, I loved the NBA back then. I loved me some Dan Issel and Kiki Vandeweghe and Alex English and Doug Moe, that whole bunch. But I got to tell you, they had nobody like Djokovic. Those guys are Hall of Famers, but Djokovic, if I can say his name right, Djokovic is a rare and special player and athlete, the likes of which I have never seen.
Yeah, just call him the Joker. It's a lot easier calling him
the
Joker.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people here chiming in how they'll be glad when the NBA is over, so we don't talk about it. Some people,
how are you going to ignore
golf.
it now? You can't ignore it. I mean, what do you expect us to do, folks? Ignore the PGA, one of the great events in golf? I mean, you can't. We're
going to talk a lot of golf today. I got my Swinging Gator shirt on because we're talking men's Gator golf. That's the best logo. By the way, that's clearly the best logo.
I wish I could see it. I can't see it.
You can't see it? It's the Swinging Gator, buddy. The Swinging Gator.
I don't know.
It's the golf logo.
Like the Swinging Gate?
Andy says on Facebook Live, this is interesting. And, my listeners, they do great research, buddy.
They're really good. They are astute listeners, I will say, and viewers.
Yes. Andy on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, says, an interesting stat. Pat Riley is a player, a coach, and an executive has been involved in 25% of all the NBA finals in the history of the game.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is unbelievable.
I remember it because I saw him as a player, and then when the Nuggets upset the Lakers by beating them one time in '85, Riley was the coach, and beating Pat Riley was a big deal. Big deal. And Doug Moe just hated him because he was the exact opposite. I mean, I hate to go back to that day, but Moe was a fumbling, bumbling, tousled hair, swearing. And, of course, the other guy was Mr. Cool, as you know. So, yeah, Pat Riley. That night they beat the Lakers in L.A. I got to tell you, there was a bunch of fun folks had a lot of fun after that game, including the coach and players and media.
Yep. And so the Miami Heat go for the sweep of the Celtics tonight. And we'll see if that happens. The Panthers down in South Florida, the Florida Panthers are up 3-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. So
Shane, you're a hockey fan. You talk about minuscule interests and people not caring. I don't know. I mean, look, I've covered some big hockey teams in the past. You talk about the Ranger Islanders series of a million years ago and so on, the Avalanche in Denver, whatever. But people I go travel with don't talk about hockey at all. At all.
Well, JC talks a lot of hockey on here. He loves hockey. So
I figured JC would do it. Anything offbeat like that he'd like.
Yeah, and JC Deacon's a big hockey fan. He's from Canada, so he's a big Maple Leafs
guy.
Get
that. Now listen, my best friend grew up in Toronto, and all I heard about was the Maple Leafs and how great they were when we were growing up in high school. And finally, when I was a sophomore in college, we went to Toronto, and I went to Maple Leaf Gardens and saw a hockey game. It was the first big-time sporting event I ever attended. I know those people, how much they love their hockey. It's the closest thing to Southeastern Conference football in the South that I know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, buddy. Let's talk Gator baseball. They're your SEC champs. They're the 1 seed. The all SEC teams came out yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. The first team.
Yeah.
The Gators had 5 players. Jack Caglione at first base, Cade Curlin at second, Josh Rivera at short, Wyatt Langford out in the outfield, and Brandon Ely as a relief pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
What surprised me was Jack Caglione was not the SEC player of the year. It was Dylan Cruz from LSU is your SEC player of the year. Does that surprise you at all?
A little bit, but I guess because of his ability to hit and pitch like he is a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award, by the way. Caglione is. He and Langford both. But I don't know I don't know who votes on those. I haven't seen.
That's the coaches. The coaches voted on.
Okay, well, I mean, whatever they have an opinion. So you and I could have our own team too. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know if it's a snub or not. But hey, that's good. It gives him an incentive for next year because next year he ought to be everything, with every award there is. The Golden, Platinum, and Diamond Spikes Award next year. If he continues to get good, just getting into his own now as a pitcher, Shane. He's finally going 6-7 innings and got stuff and knows how to locate his fastball and his changeup. He's just learning to pitch. He knows how to hit the baseball pretty well already.
So they play. They play the winner of Kentucky and somebody. I keep forgetting who they play.
Georgia, is it? Kentucky, Georgia, is it?
It may be. I don't know. Somebody will let us know. But so, buddy, you're a baseball guy. I love baseball growing up. But if you were the manager or the head ball coach of this baseball team, going to Hoover as the 1 seed, how are you approaching it? Are you going to continue playing it as you have the entire season? Because we do know that the SEC tournament means nothing for where Florida sits. Now, for some of those teams that are on the outside looking in, you win a couple games here, you may get into the field of 64.
Right.
But what would Buddy Martin, if you were the manager right now, what would you be doing?
It's a great question. It is the classic question because in my lifetime, I've seen these scenarios. And often, more times than not, when you take your foot off the pedal and try to save gas, it comes back to bite you in the ass. And I like the fact this team struggled and they earned every series was a challenge. It wasn't until they finally got swept Vandy, we knew they had this team going the right direction. I hate to see them take their foot off the gas, but I do know their pitching rotation probably will change a little bit. You preserve a little in the tank, get your best. You got to play for the regional. It's a shame the SEC championship doesn't mean more. I think we like to see Florida win it, but that's the luck of the draw, and we'll see how it goes. I think what you do is what you can do as best you can, You don't pull your players, which is a mistake they make in the NFL, other places, NBA. They go sit players. You just go out and play your game, and then you do the best you can. And you want to get a couple wins, and if you don't win it, that's fine. Now you're home for your regional, and now you got to be at your best. So what is the goal here? The goal here is not just to win the SEC tournament because it's not that big a prize anymore. I mean, let's be honest, it means something. But
well, you win a trophy. They're the regular season champs. There's going to be a banner. They're going to get a ring and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
If it's me, you stick to your guns. You
just play it like it is.
As long as your pitchers are on their normal rest time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Whatever their pitch count is, that's fine. We play the winner of Alabama, Kentucky tomorrow. So you don't pull anybody out. Now, somebody's got a sprained ankle or their arm's hurting.
You rest them if they're hurt.
Right. But just go play. Don't, even if you win tomorrow, you win the next game, and then pitching starts being an issue, just throw the arms you don't plan to use in the regionals. Still go try to win, but don't go out of the way to try to win.
Don't wear out your bullpen.
Yeah. Yeah. But as Cliff says, have to trust Sully. Yeah, this ain't his first rodeo. So
he knows how to handle pitchers. That's one thing he's brilliant about, man.
Joseph says, do we have a top 8 seed locked up no matter what happens in this? Yes. We're the number 2 team in America.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we lose tomorrow, we will be hosting a super regional.
But you got to want to win. You got to want to win. I mean,
trust me, those players, when they lace up their cleats, their spikes, they want to go win. And, there's nothing, especially if you're in if you're hitting the ball well, you want to keep playing, because last thing you want to do is go one and done and then have about 10 days off until you play again.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Not that many.
I don't like that. About a week, I think.
Let's see. Brandon says here, Shane, after reflecting on the Andy Staples article and interview, one would think, what did Foley actually do to contribute to the enhancement of Gator football and basketball teams during his historic runs? With the revenue generated during that, we don't have much to show for it. The scoreboard in the south end zone that has no sound, we added after the 06 championship, and that's about it. We had Andy Staples on yesterday talking about it.
I heard his
article.
I heard him, yeah.
Yeah, he's very good. But he was just talking about, I understand Gator fans are so upset. I don't know if upset, just worried about where the program is because we haven't been relevant or what have you. But buddy, I friends of mine try to tell me this as well. Florida football has really only had a whole lot of success for probably about a 20-year span.
Right.
Well,
wait a minute now. Wait. When you say success,
I was going to finish.
Okay.
So Charlie Pell had his run. Galen had a couple of good teams. Now, obviously, we know they had a bunch of trouble going on then. But then you had the Spurrier era and then Urban.
Right.
Okay. So Urban was here, 6 years?
Yes.
Orr was here for 12.
Right.
So that's 18. And then you add maybe 4 other ones. And that's pretty much the history of success.
Yeah, you're probably right
about that. When it comes to Florida football.
Probably right. I would count some of those years like 69 and the Super Sauces a really great year. I know it didn't win championship.
But regardless, they've been playing football for over 100 years.
Right.
Can we agree that maybe 30 of those years was a great success or had fun winning?
Well, I'd say 25 were great and 30 were really good.
Okay. That ain't a whole lot when you think about it.
No, it's no doubt. Yeah.
So
what Coach Spurrier said, he came here and looked at the trophy case. You could see what they've done, right?
So when you compare it to a lot of other programs around the country, so long story short, what does Florida have to do to get back to winning and stuff? And Andy, I thought his article was great. We'll see. I believe in Billy Napier. According to ESPN here, the hardest schedules in 2023.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is 1, Minnesota's 2, and the Gators are 3.
3. Yeah.
I don't see that. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority, I know, but I don't see how we have the 3rd hardest schedule in America.
What do you think it is? First?
No, Lord, no. I think.
Well, I saw another poll that ranked him the number one toughest schedule. Some guy who does this for his gig, he ranked him number one. Now, I'd have to analyze it. Let's agree they have one of the 5 toughest. I think when you add it all up.
But, buddy, what makes to me, yes, Georgia's the number one team in America.
Yeah.
LSU's is probably a top 5 team. I don't know.
We'll see.
Outside of that, I don't see why it's that tough.
Well, you don't think playing Tennessee?
Look, Tennessee is going to
Florida State.
I believe Tennessee is coming to our ballpark.
Yeah, but it's still a tough game.
They are going to take a step back this year. Okay, we're going to Utah.
What do you base that on? Other than you think the quarterback situation is going to be Hooker's not there? Obviously, what do you base it on? I mean, I base it
on this. I base it on this. Okay, do I think Josh Heupel's a good coach? Absolutely, I do. Do I know for a fact that UCF was going to run Josh Heupel out? Yes. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen. Everybody's basing on what happened last year with Hendon Hooker, and then the previous year with Hendon Hooker. He's gone. He's gone. They lost a lot of good players to the National Football League, or they graduated. That doesn't mean they can't replace them. But I think Tennessee takes a huge step back. I know everybody's loving Florida State. I told you before the game last year, I did not think Florida State was very good. They beat one team with a winning record the entire year. I don't think they're that great.
Shane, they're a top 10 team in preseason. You got to give them that.
That's fine. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to win the ACC, buddy. They're not going to win.
Okay, LSU. So maybe they're not the best team. Maybe they're the second best team. I don't know.
Well, that's fine. Congratulations to them. They come to our ballpark. Okay, so having said that, people think FSU is great, they think Tennessee is great. Tell me who else is great on that schedule.
Well, let me ask you this, Shane. Are you conceding that really there's only 2 good teams in the SEC? I mean, right now this team is challenged to beat Vanderbilt and
let's back
and whatever.
Here's the thing: we lost to Vanderbilt last year. That is correct. Why are people making such a big deal about that? That was last year. It has zero bearing on what's going to happen when we play Vanderbilt this year. Just like, did we beat Utah last year, buddy?
Yeah, but what are you basing this on?
I'm basing this on common sense. Okay, so everybody
who's common sense? Your common sense, or the common sense of people in Vegas who say the over and under is 5.5?
Okay, and I'm telling you right now that they're going to lose a ton of money on that. Okay,
you ought to be all in on that.
I am all in because let me ask you this: did we lose to Vanderbilt last year?
Of course.
Okay, do you think Vanderbilt will beat us this year?
No.
Okay. Did we beat South Carolina last year?
Yes.
We destroyed them. Do you think we lose to them this year?
I don't know on that one yet.
Okay.
I got to see more. I got to know more what I'm dealing with here.
Here's what my point is. Whether you know what we're dealing with or not is, we beat Utah last year. Yeah. That does not mean we're going to beat Utah this year. Okay. So I think there's 2 teams that are better than the Florida Gators on paper and then on the field, and that's LSU and Georgia.
You're not counting Utah?
Why do I think they're better than us?
Well, they have an established quarterback if he's not hurt.
We don't know if he's playing, but he's coming off an ACL
I said if he's not hurt. I said they have an established quarterback.
Okay. They also lost their top offensive weapons around him to the National Football League. So I understand what people think here, but people want to look at, like, you lost to Kentucky last year. Yeah, we lost to Kentucky last year. That doesn't mean we're going to lose to them this year. We lost because we threw 2 pick sixes or 1 pick six, and I am a firm believer that this football team will I almost guarantee they win 8 games.
Well, you know what? I'm quoting you on that, and I know you think that. I think 6 wins are in the bag. I think it's 2 or more possible, but I don't see it yet. Now, Billy did speak last night at the Fight Gator Touchdown Club in Gainesville. He said openly, we weren't a very good football team last year.
We were horrible.
Now he said that, but he said that last night. I've not heard him say that before. Now, I asked Franz, who was at the meeting, Franz Beard, did he mean he didn't have the talent, or did he mean he wasn't a very good team? He said, no, he clearly meant we weren't a very good team.
So it was a combination of both.
Well, but the interpretation Franz had was it was not so much the lack of talent as it was. They weren't a very good team. They didn't play well. They had the right price. I don't know. So I think there's a gray area. Look, I think Florida could win 7 or maybe 8, but based on what? Just because you and I say so? We got to see something.
But why? But just because you only won 6 games last year, does not mean that this team can't win 9 or 10.
Okay, but what do you base it on?
I base it on this. I'm sticking to it, and I've said it a million times. The best players for the Florida Gators last year were the ones that Billy Napier and his staff were responsible for bringing to the school.
Mm-hmm.
He has had an opportunity now to add more players to his roster that he is responsible for. The team will be better and more consistent on both sides of the football than they were last year. And when you play consistent football, you win games. Okay. Joseph says we'll play 5 or 6 ranked teams this year, but I'm with you, QB. Well, they may be ranked right now, but that doesn't mean they're going to be ranked when we play them. I do not see Tennessee being what they were last year. No way.
Well, they had a great year. They had one of their greatest years of all time, but they're going to be competitive and they're going to be hard to beat, even in the swamp. They're going to be good. Yeah. They're going to move the football.
Andy says,
have you seen any evidence that Florida can stop on 3rd downs? I mean, you got to talk about that too.
I will tell you this. They will be better than they were last year on defense because of multiple things. They'll be better in the front 7. They'll be better at the safety positions. Their secondary, they got some really good corners. Really good corners.
Okay.
So, like I said, you've seen just as much as I have, but I'm going based on what's coming back and what they've brought in.
Yeah.
And I'm going also like Ole Miss. Everybody's all loves Lane Kiffin. I like Lane too. They don't win they don't beat anybody though. That's the thing. Okay. I don't know why I got off on that tangent because somebody sent me a text about Ole Miss, and they have supposedly the number one hardest schedule.
We're guessing here, but that's what we do is a preseason analysis, and we're hoping and wishing and whatever. But that's what makes it so interesting this summer as they get closer. Every little story that breaks about recruiting or this guy or that guy or quotes, whatever, is people are feasting on that stuff because we don't know. And the great thing about Florida football over the years has been when a team is not expected to be good, that is good.
So let me ask you this. What would make you feel better going into this season from a player standpoint or whatever for the Florida Gators?
I can't give you chapter and verse, but I can tell you that Florida was in on some players, really good players, in the transfer portal and didn't get them.
Right. For whatever reason.
So that you asked me what would make me feel better? If they'd have gotten 2 or 3 of those players, that would make me feel better. But I had to go back and look at it. But
are those players, or you're talking about they're well-known players around America?
Well, they went to Alabama and Notre Dame and those other schools. They didn't come to Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
They're transfer portal players. That you asked me what would make me feel better. If I could see film on Graham Mertz and watch him play and know more about him, what made me feel better was you're the one who said the front 7 had a lot of work to do and they weren't very good.
Yes, and I think they're going to be much better than they were in the last 3 years.
So, all right, that's you thinking it, but you can't show me that.
No, but I mean, you can't get any worse is my point. You cannot get worse in the front 7 than we have been in the last 2 or 3 years.
All right, Shane, look, I'm not going to stand in your way of being an optimist. I think it's great. I think this is what Florida needs right now. Somebody to believe in them, and Billy needs right now. I wrote this column last week. We talked about it last week, is that I'm tired of having to defend the Florida program every year against the likes of the national critics, and I'm in a position now as a journalist and a fan, I'm part fan, that I want to go to the games, watch them, write about them, and not go home and cry and whine and wring my hands because they didn't beat Tennessee. It's okay to win 7 or 8 right now, as long as I know there's something coming the following year. And that's what I'm putting my hopes on, is that this team is building something. And I think Billy is a builder. He's done that at Louisiana, other places. I think he's the right guy, but it gets tough today out there right now. It's tough because their critics are everywhere. NIL money is influential. recruiting is big. I'm waiting to see what they do the
But
next
here's the thing:
2 weeks.
Billy Naper's going nowhere. He's going nowhere.
Well, I know, but it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to be happy about it if he goes 6-6 again.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a text here on the Titan Mar text line from Bob. Bob says, "Buddy, would you be more inclined to think the Gators had a better chance of having a good year next year if Anthony Richardson was returning?"
Yeah, I would.
Okay. I'm going to ask you why.
Well, you know why, and I have to go through this again because
buddy, he won 6
let me
games
finish. You
last
asked
year.
me a question. Wait a minute. You just said you can't base stuff off last year. Now you're giving
You
me
can't.
last
You
year.
can't. I'm just.
Well, you just
proving
gave
a
me
point
that.
here.
Well, you make up your mind. Can you or can't you? So my point is, do I think I'm going on talent? My eyes don't lie to me. I've seen a few good players in my lifetime. I've not seen the likes. I've not seen Anthony Richardson before in a Gator uniform. And and I know potential is the French word that gets you beat. I get all that.
Yeah.
I loved him as a player and his skill level. Could he have been more accurate? Of course, but he could have been coached too as well.
See, I disagree with the coaching aspect of that whole thing because I know for a fact he was coached. I know what happened in those meetings. The playbook went from here to there. Look, I think they're going to be better offensively with Graham Mertz at quarterback.
Meaning, what do you mean better?
They're going to be consistent. We were not terrible on offense. Defense is where we were terrible.
No doubt about it.
We're going to
run the football.
I think we're going to be very consistent. Everybody thinks we're just going to run the ball 60 times a game. We're not. I'm just telling y'all.
Well, let me just ask you this: how many guys can take it to the house from 80 yards? Not many. Okay, this guy had skill levels. He had.
I don't need my quarterback.
My eyes didn't lie to me. Well, you're the one who kept saying they're going to run the ball more all last year. Oh, you got to run more. No. Yes, you did. I heard you say on the show.
The Gator Nation wanted to know why he would not pull it on the zone read. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm not in the meetings. I'm just telling you he had opportunities to pull the ball multiple times and did not. So we'll just leave it at that. But I'm sticking to my guns that they win a minimum of 8 games. I do not know how they why they think this schedule is that damn hard.
I respect it, but the question was directed to me. And the answer is yes, I would feel better if Anthony Richardson was a quarterback.
Okay. All right. But you still don't have concerns about the defense or this or that.
Wait, that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question.
Right. Okay. All right. People are going to be pleasantly surprised this year.
I hope that's what's going to make it fun if you're right. And I admire you for sticking your nose out there, Chin, saying, yeah, go 8. You could be right. I don't dispute that. I just don't necessarily share some of the same things. I don't see the evidence before my eyes to say, yes, this is going to happen. Because you just told me I can't go off last year.
You can't go off last year.
All right.
So my point is that it's no different. If you get everybody was worried about the quarterback position so much. I'm just telling you, this team is going to be so much better across the board, and that's how you win games. Yes, one player can help dominate, but that one player, if he's that good of a player, should win more games and should win more. I'm just saying that they're going to be a better football team than people think.
Okay.
And I have no problem going on this show or any other show if I'm wrong.
All right.
So,
all right, listen, can I say it real fast? You're going to ditch me right now. I want to say 2 things real fast.
Yeah, we got to talk golf with JC.
I know. I wanted to mention that I talked to Steve Melnick last night, who calls some of had a little channel he did some stuff on, and talking about what a great event it was and how wonderful it was. And he mentioned Victor Hovland, who I guess his son Melnick's son works with as an agent. And just said, boy, he got gutted out. Unfortunately, he played such good golf. I don't like Victor Hovland, some of his personality, but man, he played some good golf. And again, the question is, which was the story? Was it Koepka's ability to overcome his background, his LIV, being sort of betraying the league, or is it him winning the 5th major? And that was such a wonderful event. And of course, the great story was Michael Block. I mean, what a fantastic story he was. I thoroughly enjoyed that tournament, and I must say it was just as good as you want in golf. And finally, I want to say this about Jim Brown. because I saw Jim Brown play a lot. Okay, I'm one of the few humans still around who did. I got to tell you, he's the greatest football player I ever saw. Period. The greatest I ever saw. And back in those days, we got a lot of Cleveland Browns games on TV. And he was just phenomenal. What he did, his speed, his power, his durability. He never missed a game with an injury. Never. And he got pounded by people. So, yeah, R.I.P. to Jim Brown. And maybe you didn't like him as a person, but boy, what a football player he was. And just I want to be sure I get that in there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Buddy, we appreciate your time. We got to go get to our SEC Coach of the Year, JC Deacon.
All right, go get it.
All right, that's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. I'm going to take a quick time out. Come back. We'll be joined by the SEC Coach of the Year, JC Deacon, men's Gator golf coach. You're watching and listening. PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, The Keys, Dave & Buster's, Palmetto Moons, Starbucks, Visors, and the HBC's restaurants, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're going to head to the Titan MR hotline now. We're joined by the SEC Coach of the Year and the men's SEC golf champion.
Yeah.
His team did it. JC Deacon, welcome to the program, man. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me, Shane. Yeah, it's been a neat couple of weeks after winning that. That's the one we wanted the most, and we're going to try and double down this week in Arizona.
Yes, that will. Let's go back to the regional play up in Michigan last week. You know, I was following it on Twitter, and boy, I don't know what the hell the Georgia Bulldogs were doing. I thought it had to be a typo the way they were playing.
Yeah.
And then on day 3, y'all made a huge run. Michigan State kind of started playing golf like I do, I guess, making a bunch of bogeys or what have you. But boy, that was an unbelievable comeback.
Yeah, I'm still not really sure what happened. With all due respect to Georgia, they got a great program, but I mean, we beat them pretty handily every tournament we played against them this year, and we get through 2 rounds and we're like 20 shots back or something, like you said. And I think we were hitting it pretty good. I wasn't searching for any balls. We weren't struggling ball striking. We just didn't make any putts. And we knew, I knew if we could just heat up with the putters a little bit, we'd be fine. And the last day of regionals is the hardest day of college golf because your season's on the line. And we got a really experienced group. I knew Michigan State was going to have a lot of pressure on them being at home. They had their athletic director on the tee in the final round. I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of heat for those kids. So I figured if we could get off to a good start, we might have a chance. And every time this year our kids' backs have been up against the wall, they've responded, and that was probably the best round we played all year. It was really fun to see.
So JC, as a golf coach, the night before, the morning before the tournament starts, what kind of message do you send? In football, people always want to be in the locker room because you usually have that defense coordinator that's screaming and cussing and breaking chalkboards to get guys fired up. What is your message to a golf team?
Yeah, I mean, golf's a little different. We're trying to keep our emotions in check at all times. A little different than football, but I think it's just reminding the guys of the little things. A big thing for our team is staying calm, committing to their shots. Even if they pick the wrong shot or pick the wrong line on a putt, you want to make sure they're committing to everything. Just reminding them to be smart, to trust themselves, but. It was a little different for that final round of regionals because we were 7 shots back. And I just reminded the guys we had already done this in 2021. We had made a comeback in the final round of regionals. And I just painted a picture of what I thought was going to happen the next day and told them what I thought some other teams were going to do and tried to paint a picture of how we were going to play. And it worked. So, just trying to make them as confident as possible. And especially with our guys, it's, we got four seniors and veterans in the lineup. So there's not too much that they need to be coached on now. They've heard it for 4 years. It's just going out there and executing.
Yeah, you talked about it. You got a lot of seniors that have a lot of experience heading out to Arizona. Y'all leave today. Y'all's preparation. I mean, obviously, the golf course y'all are going to play.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But speak about golf because it's so different than any other sport. Football, basketball, you're looking at tape all the time of your opponent, what they do on third downs, do they blitz, what you don't really worry about your opponent. You're trying to play the best golf you can. Obviously, you have a plan on every hole. Just talk to our listeners how y'all kind of prepare. Each player is a little bit different because one guy may hit the ball a lot farther. He might not be able to use driver on this hole.
Yeah.
Just y'all have a plan for each player, correct?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the most unique thing about golf is every golf course we go to is different. Football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, you're going to see the same dimensions in the court or on the field every single time. And everywhere we go is different. So playing that regional up in Michigan, there was bent grass greens, different rough. Obviously, the weather's different. We're playing outdoors, so that's going to change things. And Arizona, it's going to be super hot. So when it gets that hot, the golf ball starts traveling really far. So we got to be prepared for that. So leading up to it, we're making sure our guys know how far their golf ball is going to go with each club in that heat. That's probably the biggest thing is being able to control our landing spots. And then, like you said, we build a game plan for each guy that's different. And, Ricky Castillo on our team and Yushin Lin, this will be their 3rd year playing at this particular course. So they got some great experience. Fred Biondi played fantastic for us there last year. His 67 in the 3rd round is probably the best round I've ever coached. Seen a player shoot that I was playing for our team. It was just the most amazing round in those conditions. So we know that this course, the greens get really firm, the rough's long, the wind starts blowing in the afternoon. So I think it's a huge advantage for us. We have all this experience. John Dubois, he played for us last year in that tournament, played one round for us back in 2021. So we've got a lot of experience. Mac Press will be the only one that hasn't seen the golf course. So the guys, it's nice because they know where certain clubs fly. They know what bunkers they can cover. They know where kind of not to hit it. So that's going to help us a ton. And we'll figure out a game plan for Matt on Thursday in the practice round and have him commit to it. And then, it's just executing and really having fun. Our guys have worked so hard this year, Shane, just polishing the details of their game. And I think we know and they know they're ready. They're ready to go and contend for this title. And it's just enjoying this experience now and competing as hard as we can.
All right, talk a little bit about the format. It's kind of a weird deal. Y'all could play a ton of golf. It's stroke play, and then if you get to the finals, it turns into match play, correct?
Yeah, so we'll play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday stroke play. And then after those 4 rounds, the top 8 teams will go to match play. And then you'll just play mano-a-mano against one school and, from 8 teams down to 1 and determine a winner. So it's 7 rounds in 6 days, hopefully, for the Gators next week.
JC, correct me if I'm wrong. When, your assistant, Dudley Hart, who was an All-American and played on the PGA Tour, he's old Gator, you guys can, walk with the player and talk to him during the shot, correct? Or is that wrong?
Yeah, that's right. We essentially, Dudley and I do that a lot. We'll caddy for a guy we don't carry their clubs. That's the only thing you can't do. But everything else, we can read putts for him. We can talk about clubs, talk about yardages, do all that stuff. And I think, Dudley obviously played on the PGA Tour for more than 25 years. And I've got a professional golf background, certainly not to his level. But, I think that's where, part of our coaching abilities maybe give us a little bit of a advantage over some other teams. I think when we're in the heat of the moment, Dudley and I have been there a lot and really can help our guys on the course in the middle of rounds.
So how do you decide who you're going to walk with? Is it maybe the younger player? You kind of let Fred Bionde and Castillo and those guys kind of do their own thing, or do y'all just kind of roam around during the tournament?
It changes. At SECs, Ricky was playing really well, but just wasn't scoring in the first round. And usually that's my sign to sorry, my screen's so dark here. That's my sign to go and walk with him. So I ended up walking the last 36 holes of the SEC championship with Ricky and just, talking through shots and making sure he was really committed. And then last week at regionals, Yushin Lin he had struggled kind of 3 rounds in a row and we just needed him. I knew we needed him to kind of get it going and step it up. So I spent the last, 25 or 26, 30 holes with Yushin, walking and just reading his putts. He was really struggling to hole some putts. And so started reading all his putts and thankfully I was there in that final round to watch him shoot 66. It's one of the most clutch rounds that I've been a part of with the Florida Gators. It was certainly the reason we get to go to Arizona next week.
Awesome. All right, this may be a silly question, but I've always wondered this. You only play 5 guys, okay? You travel with more. What happens if one guy wakes up with the flu and can't play? Can you insert somebody else in?
Yeah, so great question. Back in, I guess this was 2016 or 15 in Oregon, Texas made the national championship final. So they were head-to-head against Oregon, and their best player at the time, Bo Hostler, who's on the PGA Tour now, was hitting a shot out of the rough in the semifinals, and I think he hurt his shoulder or his wrist. I can't remember what it was. And essentially, he couldn't play the next day. So they had to forfeit a point. And I believe Oregon ended up winning that match. So that summer, the coaches got together and we put in a rule where you can now bring 6 players. And if someone gets hurt or if someone's not playing well, you can now sub in that 6th player for that guy. So I think it was an awesome rule change. I was I wasn't sure about it at the time, but it's kind of brought some coaching strategy into it. We've used the sub here our last couple postseasons. We haven't used it this year. Our 5 guys have kind of been rolling, but it does give you a little protection if someone gets hurt or someone's not really feeling it. So it's been a nice addition to the college game.
The Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with JC Deacon, the SEC Coach of the Year. A few more minutes. Let me get some of these questions here that people have texted in. This one is from Jack. He's on the Titan More text line. He says, which Gators should we keep an eye out for possibly making it on the PGA Tour?
Great question. And we got one coming that I'm really excited about. Alejandro Tosti is not on our team right now, but he's currently, I think he's 20th on the Korn Ferry Tour money list. Just finished in the top 10 a few weeks ago on the PGA Tour. He played for us for 4 years, was a phenomenal contributor, All-American, and it looks like he's going to be earning his PGA Tour card for next year. So that's exciting. But I'm actually really curious because we have 3 players on our team right now who have all been first-team All-Americans, Ricky Castillo, Yushin Lin, and Fred Biondi, and they're all going to turn pro here at the same time after Nationals this year. And I have no clue who's going to have the best career out of the 3 of those guys. And it's going to be a great case study because they all play the game so much differently. They're all super talented, but good at different areas of the game. And I can't wait to watch this unfold and see how all 3 of them do. I hope all 3 make the PGA Tour, even as hard as that is. But it's going to be neat to watch it unfold and see who figures it out and see which part of the game maybe is most valuable.
Andy on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, JC, how involved has Billy Horschel been with the team this year?
Man, Billy's he's just incredible. He I know Gator Nation knows, but this guy loves the orange and blue as much as anyone out there. And he's very, very passionate about his golf team. He came on as our official volunteer assistant, I guess, two or 3 years ago. And all of our guys have his cell phone number. He's always watching what we're doing. We're always watching what he's doing. And he's been very involved in different times with our guys, just, giving them advice and sharing his experiences, out playing with the best players in the world every week. So Billy's been a big part of this team and certainly added a lot of swagger to our group, which I've appreciated. And, we're super thankful to have Coach Horschel.
Last one here, text on the Titan More text line from Rob. He wants to get your thoughts on the Michael Block story from this past weekend.
Oh man, I'm usually, I think like sometimes networks try to force feed that stuff too much, but man, that was incredible. I still coach a player on the PGA Tour who actually had a great weekend. Kurt Kitayama finished 4th. Yep. And I found myself pulling harder for Michael Block than I was for Kurt Kitayama. And when Michael made that hole-in-one on 14 or 15 there, I'm like, this is a fairy tale. You can't script this stuff. And then he gets it up and down on 18 to finish in the top 15 and get an invite back for next year. I think, honestly, that's probably the beauty of golf. That guy's 46 years old, has never played on the PGA Tour, and he's living out his dream that so many people have, at that age. That's what makes our sport so cool is, if you can keep your mind right and keep your body moving and still be able to hit the ball a little bit, you never say never when your time's coming. And I think Michael Block has made himself a legend in the game of golf forever after that.
He has. I was trying to tell people it would be like, these quarterbacks have these quarterback coaches around the country that may have played a little bit of quarterback at some point in their career. It's like sticking them in and playing in the Super Bowl and playing great because this dude has no time of practicing. He's teaching guys at his club. Yeah, and probably never hits a whole lot of balls and goes and plays this type of competition with the best players in the world. It was phenomenal. He could have hit 100 balls on that chip shot, and I don't think he would have hit that shot once.
He hit that thing so perfect. I don't think anyone understands where it landed in the rough and kind of killed the momentum. That shot was unbelievable, and I think all of us knew that putt was going in. The the golf gods were not going to let that putt miss. That was an awesome moment.
Yeah. I have one question, a rules deal, and maybe I misunderstood it. I think it was 16 when Hovland on the bunker shot, remember embedded?
Yeah.
He got a free drop on that? Why is
No,
that not
he didn't. Oh yeah, you know what he did? You're right, because if it had embedded in the bunker in the actual sand, he would not have gotten a free drop. You don't get free relief from an embedded ball in sand, but it just got above into the grass, which is the general area. So you get a free drop if your ball embeds in the general area. Sand is not included in the general area.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I was thinking that it was still in the sand. I was like, well, that doesn't make any
he got lucky because the day before Corey Connors, a fellow Canadian, he did it in that same bunker, but his was in the sand. So I think he had to take a penalty for that, and I think he made triple bogey or something like that. So little bit lucky for Hovland, but boy, Brooks Koepka, he had it going. He wasn't going to be beat.
No, he's an unbelievable player. Yeah. I got one last question. Do you think golf's going to do anything with the technology? You know, everybody talks about, Major League Baseball plays with wooden bats. They don't play with aluminum bats. Yeah. Are they ever going to go back to like a persimmon wood or change the ball or anything like that, in your opinion?
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about rolling the ball back this year, and I don't like it. I don't think it's the time right now. I think, you look at golf this weekend and that PGA Championship and all the storylines and all the great players. Our game is in such a good place. We need Tiger to get healthy, get him back and get him in the mix. But just as long as they cap it now, don't let these drivers hit the ball any further than they are right now. Don't let the golf ball travel any further than it is right now, and we're fine. But I'd hate to see them roll it back when these kids that, I get to spend every day with, and I watch them working their butts off in the gym, doing speed training out on the range and at the golf course. They've worked hard to get this strength and speed and to learn their games and how far the ball goes now. I just don't think it's a time for change. We got to find some other ways to make these golf courses more difficult that challenge the players without rolling the golf ball back, in my opinion.
Well, JC, we appreciate you taking the time. I know you're very, very busy. We'll be pulling for you guys, and I can't wait to watch this weekend. Appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Shane. Hopefully we'll be on that golf channel next week and make Gator Nation uncomfortable watching us. It's going to be a lot of pressure-packed golf.
That'd be awesome. All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
That's JC Deacon, the SEC Coach of the Year. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com, 352-240-1779. This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life for Campus USA Credit Union. This Day in Sports in 2021 at the PGA Championship at the Ocean Course in Kiowa Island. Phil Mickelson becomes the oldest major winner in history at age 50. He wins his sixth major by 2 strokes over Brooks Koepka and Louis Oosthuizen. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. I want to thank Buddy Martin and Gator men's head coach, golf coach JC Deacon, for joining us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We wish them a lot of luck out there. He's got a really good team, man. Golf is a crazy sport, so hopefully they can get hot. They have the players to win the national title. Things got to bounce their way and go from there. So hope you enjoyed today's program. Tomorrow we'll have JC. We'll do some Peachland Dental picks. We'll also find out tomorrow who the Gators play. Well, actually, that game's tonight. The Gators play tomorrow in baseball out in Hoover. Have a great day, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.